Believe it or not, Dolph Ziggler's career in WWE is an impressive one, maybe even Hall of Fame worthy. He made his debut for the company in September 2005 on an episode of Saturday Night Heat as an enforcer and sidekick for Chavo Guerrero, who was portraying a golfing character in the ring. Yes, Kerwin White, a somewhat forgettable and controversial gimmick that didn't last long. He was then sent back to Ohio Valley Wrestling, OVW, WWE's developmental brand at the time. Before that, Ziggler had already built a strong wrestling background. At Kent State University, he became one of the most successful mat wrestlers in the school's history. That college sports connection played a role in his next WWE gimmick when he returned as part of the Spirit Squad, a faction of 5 young wrestlers playing male cheerleaders. Ziggler, under the name Nikki, was part of the group. The faction got a lot of TV time and even won the WWE Tag Team Championships. However, Ziggler had little to no influence in those victories. He was just another body taking bumps for Triple H and Shawn Michaels in their feud with D-Generation X. After the Spirit Squad disbanded, Ziggler returned to OVW, later transitioning to Florida Championship Wrestling, FCW, where he continued honing his skills. In September 2008, Ziggler was called back to the main roster. He reintroduced himself backstage as Dolph Ziggler, marking the beginning of his solo career. Initially, fans didn't take to the name, but over time, they warmed up to it. However, his return wasn't smooth. Shortly after debuting, Ziggler was suspended for 30 days for violating WWE's wellness policy. Despite this setback, he returned in November and faced Batista in his first match as Dolph Ziggler. At first, he wasn't anything special, but WWE saw potential in him and booked him in regular matches. In early 2009, he had a brief moment in the Royal Rumble, clashing with Kane before being eliminated. These small moments helped showcase his charisma, and he took full advantage of them. That April, Ziggler was drafted to SmackDown, and his career started gaining momentum. He defeated the United States Champion, MVP, in a non-title match, signaling that WWE saw something in him. He then feuded with the Great Khali, even managing to defeat the Giant on multiple occasions. Around this time, he adopted the sleeper hold as a signature submission move, using it effectively against larger opponents like Khali and Mark Henry. Ziggler's next major feud was with Rey Mysterio for the Intercontinental Championship. Although he didn't win the title, his matches with Mysterio proved he could perform at an elite level. He was quickly gaining a reputation as a masterful seller, making his opponents look even better in the ring. By 2010, Ziggler had earned his first major opportunity, competing in the Money in the Bank ladder match at WrestleMania 26. WWE saw value in him and paired him with Vickie Guerrero, who was known for drawing massive heel heat, aligning with her boosted Ziggler's credibility as a villain. And in July 2010, he finally captured the Intercontinental Championship. After a strong reign, he dropped the title to Kofi Kingston in January 2011, but WWE had bigger plans for him. On the same night he lost the IC title, Ziggler won a fatal 4-way match to become the #1 contender for the World Heavyweight Championship, facing Edge at Royal Rumble 2011. Despite Guerrero banning Edge's spear, Ziggler still lost. However, WWE scripted an angle where Edge was stripped of the title and Ziggler was awarded the championship. His reign lasted less than a day. He lost it back to Edge later that night. Ziggler's next big break came on July 3, 2012, when he qualified for the Money in the Bank ladder match for the World Heavyweight Championship contract. He won the contract, guaranteeing him a title shot anytime, anywhere. Instead of cashing in immediately, Ziggler spent the following months feuding with top stars like Chris Jericho, Randy Orton, and John Cena. His match against Jericho at SummerSlam 2012 opened the show and received strong reviews. Finally, on the Raw after WrestleMania 29, Ziggler seized his moment. He cashed in his contract against Alberto Del Rio, winning the World Heavyweight Championship to one of the loudest crowd reactions in WWE history. So, what went wrong? Why didn't Dolph Ziggler, who seemed destined for top-level stardom, ever get that sweet, unfiltered moment without some bittersweetness attached to it? Ziggler's career is one of near misses and what-ifs. Whether it was timing, backstage politics, or WWE's creative decisions, he never quite reached the sustained main event status that many believed he deserved. But make no mistake, Dolph Ziggler's career is impressive, possibly even Hall of Fame worthy. His feud with Cena was quite entertaining. Ziggler was a head-turner with the ladies, so this next storyline made a lot of sense. When he was still with Vickie Guerrero as his manager, She blamed John Cena for having an affair with Raw general manager AJ Lee. This led to a match between Ziggler and Cena at the TLC pay-per-view in 2012. Cena was getting booked a lot, but he was still the most popular man in the business. Now, Ziggler was going to have a real test against him, defending his Money in the Bank contract in a ladder match. One would expect Ziggler to lose, given his history in big matches. But he won, with the help of AJ Lee. Soon after, AJ Lee and Ziggler became an on-screen couple, and Vicky Guerrero was kicked to the curb. There was a lot of drama, but looking at Ziggler's persona, it made sense. He was a young, flamboyant wrestler on the cusp of becoming a world champion in WWE. It was no wonder his charm would allure AJ Lee. Not long after, Big E Langston, later renamed simply Big E, joined them as Ziggler's bodyguard, before dancing his way to success in the New Day with Kofi Kingston and Xavier Woods. Big E was the muscle backing Ziggler and AJ Lee. At the Royal Rumble in 2013, Ziggler showed off once again, entering first and lasting until the final four. It was his most impressive performance in the Royal Rumble to date, proving that WWE saw something in him. He was still Mr. Money in the Bank, and slowly but surely gaining positive fan reactions. At WrestleMania 29, Ziggler and Big E unsuccessfully challenged Team Hell No, Daniel Bryan and Kane, for the Tag Team Championships. Team Hell No was red hot and wasn't likely to lose, so it seemed like just a placeholder match before Ziggler's big cash-in. Fans were eager for Ziggler to cash in his contract at WrestleMania, chanting, "We want Ziggler." However, WWE didn't pull the trigger that night. Instead, the cash-in happened the next night on Monday Night Raw, when the chants were even louder. The moment was legendary. Ziggler calmly strolled to the ring, handed the briefcase to the referee, and cashed in against a weakened Alberto Del Rio. The match was more competitive than expected, with Ziggler selling so convincingly that fans worried he might fail. But in the end, he pulled through and won the championship. Despite being a villain, the crowd erupted in one of the loudest pops ever heard on Raw. It was his second world championship, but this one felt truly earned. The phrase goes, "To be the man, you gotta beat the man." And Ziggler looked, wrestled, and carried himself like a champion. WWE had a golden opportunity to make him one of the top stars of the 2010s. However, fate had other plans. Shortly after winning the title, Ziggler suffered a concussion during a match with Jack Swagger. It was an unfortunate injury, forcing him to take time off. When he returned, WWE had seemingly lost interest in him. At the Payback pay-per-view, Ziggler lost the title back to Del Rio, who ruthlessly targeted his head injury. This match featured a rare double turn. Del Rio became a villain, and Ziggler became a full-fledged babyface. While it wasn't all bad, WWE still didn't see Ziggler as a long-term main event player. Despite the post-WrestleMania magic and one of the biggest crowd reactions of the year, his momentum was derailed. His on-screen relationship with AJ Lee dissolved soon after. What could have been? Would he have dropped the title to John Cena? Would he have held on to it long enough for a unification match? It's all speculation. The reality was that Ziggler returned to the Midcard, delivering strong matches but never breaking through permanently. In 2014, he won the Intercontinental Championship and found himself back in the main event at Survivor Series. He was part of Team Cena against the Authority, facing overwhelming odds. In the final moments, Ziggler was outnumbered 3-1 against Seth Rollins, Luke Harper, and Kane. Against all odds, he eliminated Harper and Kane, with help from a debuting Sting, before pinning Rollins. He was the sole survivor, and Cena himself raised his hand, signaling that Ziggler was destined for stardom. However, WWE never fully capitalized on his momentum. He lost the Intercontinental Championship to Harper, and the cycle repeated. Mid-card title, brief main event push, then back to the mid-card. Brock Lesnar was WWE champion at the time, and Ziggler never got a shot, not even a segment with the Beast. WWE simply never pulled the trigger. He entered a weird feud with Rusev in 2015, involving a love triangle with Lana, who was dating Rusev in real life. It didn't do anyone any favors. In 2016, after the brand split, Ziggler was drafted to SmackDown and had a strong start, becoming #1 contender for the WWE Championship. Dean Ambrose retained the title, and Ziggler was sent back to the Intercontinental title picture, again repeating the same cycle. This time, however, things were different. Ziggler's 2016 feud with The Miz was one of the best storylines of the year. The Miz questioned Ziggler's purpose in WWE, leading to an emotional title versus career match at No Mercy 2016. In a perfectly paced, dramatic match, Ziggler overcame the odds, defeated The Miz, and won the Intercontinental Championship. It stole the show and received 4.5 stars from the Wrestling Observer. It likely deserved 5. In 2017, Ziggler turned villain again, this time becoming resentful and overzealous. He joined forces with Drew McIntyre in 2018 and had a fantastic feud with Seth Rollins, culminating in a 30-minute Iron Man match at Extreme Rules. Though not in the main event, Ziggler was still close to it. His win-loss record doesn't define him. Dolph Ziggler, Nick Nemeth, was a phenomenal performer, deeply respected in the business. His storytelling, athleticism, and passion for wrestling made him special. Today he continues to shine in TNA Wrestling and New Japan Pro Wrestling, proving that he still has plenty left in the tank. What's your favorite Dolph Ziggler moment? If you had the power to rewrite his career, what would you do differently? Let us know in the comments below.